All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. We're here to talk about the accounting New Year steps. Before we get started on that, hopefully everybody should be able to hear me and see my screen okay. Just a few things. Use the little red arrow at the sidebar of your webinar control panel to minimize that control panel. And simply allows you to get the full visual effect of the presentation. Or if you've got a dual monitor set up, drag that off to your second desktop there just to get it out of the way. Please type in questions that you have for me in the questions panel of the webinar. We do keep everybody muted. That is deliberate, not because we don't want to hear your questions, but because it's just more about technical issues and noise, background noise, than anything else. Again, type those questions in at any point. Probably then most importantly here, and I just realized this today when I was checking this out today, what we're covering today is already on our website in one way, shape, or form, just simply for a prior year. So if you go to our churchwindows.com website, go to the supporting menu, click on the option here called New Year Prep and Help. That then brings up our New Year Prep and Help documentation and videos. So when we scroll down here to our section on accounting, right here, the Accounting New Year Prep Steps document is what I'm using as the basis for the webinar today. Over here on the right hand side, let me introduce my highlighter friend. Right here, Church Windows Accounting New Year Setup video is already there for the prior year, so it's the same steps. This functionality has not changed, folks, between last year and this year. So this video, if you can just substitute 17 to 18 in lieu of 16 to 17, it's exactly the same. Or the document is right here under Accounting New Year Steps right here. That's what I'm using. There is a page apparently missing from this document here, but it's really more just about like checking your balance sheet and what have you on that. And I'm going to have my webmaster clean that up, get that fixed. So in any case, while we are going to be recording the event today, it probably wouldn't be out there for couple weeks or week or so. So you can get out there and get that information, essentially the same exact information I'm using now out there on the website today. So if you need to review that, you can. Okay? So that in a nutshell is just kind of all my technical stuff that I'm discussing before we get into this, the topic at hand. The first thing on that document that it talks about is accounting end of year instructions opening a new year. Okay? So, it shows our accounting year is January through December 2017. We're wanting to set up our year for 2018. This is a very common misunderstanding for folks and for churches here is you don't have to be finished with 2017 or the prior year in order to begin working or opening the new year. Don't think of it so much as closing the prior year as opening the new year, okay? We have a number of churches who have had 2018 open since, July, August, because they know that they can. Not because they're working in it, entering transactions. It's because they're preparing their budget for the next year. They're reworking and deleting on one, cleaning up their chart of accounts and adding new accounts and reworking it. What this essentially means is you can open the new accounting year for, say, 2018 at any time. You can work between two different accounting years for as long as you need or want. Okay, so you don't need to wait and rush and open the new year and be done with 2017. You can work between the 2 years as long as you need or want. Okay. All of the data is kept active in the system until you decide that you're finished with the prior year. Okay. We have a hard close feature in the software. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But that even function is not required by Church Windows in order to be able to, not even required in the software that you even utilize the hard close feature in the software. It's simply an option our customers have available and users have available should they choose to do so. Okay? So one of the first things on that the document that it mentions here is, let me get rid of my drawings here, is it talks about pay bills, not print checks, Josh, pay bills, and checking to make sure to see if you've got any invoices that are kind of outstanding there for a period of time that may need to be dealt with before we want to begin working in our new year. So we would go to pay bills, quick pay, view outstanding bills, and any bills that are sitting in this list in one way, shape, or form are bills that the system still sees are outstanding and should be dealt with before you either close the prior year or you want to deal with it. You don't want to have any of those hanging out there unless, again, we're deliberately knowing we've got a bill that we're entering in December that we're not paying until January. But this list should be looked at. We don't have anything in our list, so it's good. But if you do, you want to pay attention to this and clear that out. Again, definitely before you use the hard close feature, should you decide to do so in 2018. Okay? Okay. That's just one of the first things. That's one of the most common support things that we see through support is folks don't pay attention to those outstanding bills, and then before you know it, you've got 2, 3, 4 years of bills that have been sitting out there that don't need to be paid, or that they were never dealt with, and it certainly becomes a much bigger problem if the hard close function is utilized to close the accounting year that those are entered in. So, assuming we've done that, the next step would be to make a backup of your accounting data, or your Church Windows data. So we would do that by going to Administration, Backup, make a backup of your data. We're hoping somebody's doing that anyway. But before you do the end of year procedure or the opening of the new year function, you might want to make sure that you're doing that. But once that function was done, we would simply go back into accounting. Now, we're assuming that you're on a calendar year here, so ours is January through December. So simply to open the new year, folks, it's not a terribly difficult process to do. You simply go up to Special Functions, Manage Years, Set Up New Accounting Year. What I generally recommend is go to View Accounting Year Information first and confirm that it's not already there. Maybe somebody else did it by without telling you. So we've confirmed here our most recent financial year is 2017. 2018 doesn't exist. We're safe to do that. Okay, so we go back to Manage Years, Set Up New Accounting Year. By default, the system wants to copy your existing chart of accounts over right here. Copy chart of accounts from January through December of 2017. It also wants to copy your budget amounts as well. Okay. Unless you know that your budget amounts are changing for all of your accounts, I generally suggest copying the budget amounts. Why? Well, because what if only 60% of your account budgets change? The other 40% remain exactly as they were for 2017. You've saved yourself 40% work. Okay? The budgets can always be changed. Okay? So we're going to assume that that's what we're wanting. If your church chooses to start and your chart of accounts is bad, and you go, oh, well, we want to set up a brand new chart of accounts, you can use the end of year procedure or the opening of the new accounting year as the way to be able to do that. So if you did decide that your church wanted to set up a brand new chart of accounts, you would choose Create Empty Chart of Accounts, and then basically you're establishing a line in time between 2017 December and earlier, and 2018 and beyond. We're not going to cover that today, though. We're going to be assuming you're going to be bringing over your current chart of accounts and copying your budget. Once those selections are made, we would simply click OK, and it does its little creating accounting year progress bar gauge there, and there you go. We've got our January through December 2018 accounting year set up. Okay. The one and final step of that end of year procedure that we will need to do again is, when we're ready, we would go up to, let me get back to my regular drawing tool here, in 18, Special Functions, Manage Years, Update Beginning Balances from prior accounting year ending balances. This function is the one step of the end of year procedure that we may need to do multiple times depending on how much you work between, say, 2017 and 18. Anytime you go back into 8/17 and change those balances, post transactions, what have you, you'll need to come into the new year and update these beginning balances again. Church Windows doesn't do it for you automatically. So we're going to go ahead and do it and to bring forward whatever our balance sheet totals are as of today. And so it says, are you sure you want to update balances for 18 from 17? We click yes. It does its thing, and then it says balances were updated successfully. So now if I were to run my balance sheet through December 31st of 18 and compare that to the beginning balance column for 2018, end of 17 to 18, those two balance sheets would have the exact same totals on the accounts. They're literally a second apart, and they have the same totals. So again, you may need to run the update beginning balances function several times depending on how much you work between the two different accounting years. Okay? All I need to do now is go back up to Special Functions, Manage Years, change to another existing accounting year, and I'm now back in 2017. Okay? Working like I would normally. I can work between the 2 years as needed. Okay? On the second page of our document here, it talks about our closing accounting year. If we go to Special Functions, Manage Years, notice we do have the option called Close Accounting Year, prevents further changes to that. So if we click on that, it'll pop up and say, warning, you will not be able to add or change accounts, budgets, or transactions after a year is closed. This is not required as part of the end of year in accounting, okay? We can't stress that enough, folks, okay? As it says, we do not recommend that you close an accounting year until after an audit of that year has been completed if your church has a regular annual audit done. Okay? Then it asks us, which accounting year do we want to close? Okay, so if I chose a year, now let's maybe go back and choose one from a long time ago where it's not that important. So here I would choose, say, 2008, click OK. It even again pops up and warns me, you cannot make changes. You know, are you sure you still want to close 2008? Okay. There's no undo for this, folks. So, you know, it's fine if you want to go back and close 2017, but what happens is every year we have folks who close it, say, in the first week of January and then call us back, you know, later that month and go, hey, can I reopen it? And we go, sorry, you can't. You know, there's no undo for the hard close. So, you know, it says right here, I have read and understand. Okay, you have to check that. And then you would click yes, okay? And then it closes that year, okay? Just be aware it's not required for us to be able to, you know, work in 2 different accounting years. Like I said, it's not even required by the software at all. It's simply an option should the church choose to decide that that's what they want to do, that they don't want to make changes to a particular accounting period. It's there should you need it or want it, okay? All right. On page 3 of that document there, it talks about our additional accounting information about new budget figures for income expenses. So if I did need to go in now and go up to into 2018 and make changes to my budget for 2018, I do my change year function. We would go to OK. Our main screen changes. So I would now go up to budgets at the top left. And budget, or budgets in the middle, either way. It opens up my budget screen, and as I had requested per my setting up of my new year, it did bring over those budgeted accounts that I had budgeted for 2017 into 18. Okay, but I can still click in any one of these accounts and enable the budget. So if I go, okay, my general tithes and offerings income is going to be higher this year, coming year. You know, it was entered by month, but I can go, oh, no, we're just going to do a across-the-board sweeping increase, change it to annual. We're going to say we're anticipating, you know, $15,000 or $14,000 more. We're going to type in $330,000 of general tithes, the money coming in, click on annual, and it's now changed that amount in my budget for my general tithes and offerings. For an account that isn't budgeted, I would simply put a check mark in it. You know, like for loose offering, I click on that, I check budgeted. Now I have a location where I can enter budget for my loose offering if I wish. Okay? And yes, folks, we have lots of documentation on how to enter the budget on our website and videos out there as well. So again, anything that we're covering today, you generally have an option for it available somewhere on the either the end of year or New Year prep and help page or under our support center in either one of those locations. Once we have 2018 open, you might also consider using the budget projection function up here in the upper left. Once we look at budget projection, it'll tells us as we have exclusive access. It then loads basically the budget amounts that we have. Once you've been using Church Windows accounting for a year, you can use this function. Okay, so it's loading those budget amounts. So it shows prior year actual, projected budget. So I can view my projected income or an expense budgets based on a % increase or decrease on last year's either budget or actual. Okay, so here I can go, okay, we're going to increase our 2018 budget amounts by 2% based on last year's actual, and we're going to increase our expense budget based on 1% of last year's budget. And then simply click View Projection. And it enters those projected budget figures differently. I'm sorry, I would need to do it based on what would it be there? It would have to be 102%, right? Would that be correct? No. What would it be? Oh, based on the budget amounts, not on the last year's actual. So if I did do it on the budget, that would have to do. Sorry, folks, I've got training data here, not there. So I don't have a complete year. But I'm sorry, that's what I meant to do. But you can do it either way. But notice here, it shows prior year budget for 17 of 316,000. 2% increases that to 322. Okay, we just didn't have a whole lot of data, full year's data in there of actual. But you can. And only when you click Save and Close is that budget projection saved. And if you need to, you could always come back and set it to 0 of last year's budget amounts, and it'll just reset it back to 0. Okay. 3 minutes left here. So a couple more things is, as we pointed out, when you're ready to work between change our year between our two different years. We would close out cancel out of this, go up to special functions, manage years, simply change to another existing accounting year in order to be able to work back and forth between the 2 years. Okay. Finally, if the church decides that they do want to change the chart of accounts, okay, even if you copy your current chart of accounts, you can still you can change the accounts one of two ways. We can go to Manage Accounts, find the accounts we're wanting, go to Tree View. You can right-click and choose Edit to edit accounts singly. And once you click Edit on any account, it allows you to change either the name or the number. That works really great if you're changing maybe just a handful of accounts. If we're using having to change a larger number of accounts, we probably would want to go to Special Functions and this one called Change Account Number Structure right up here at the very top. Change Account Number Structure right there. So when we click on that Change Account Number Structure, it opens up an error. Sorry, folks. This is probably... No, it opened it. Good. So it opens up and it says account number before renumbering and account number after renumbering. So this I can click in here and I can literally just change these account numbers one at a time and save them when I'm done. If you want to change the actual structure of your account numbers themselves, meaning, 1.2 digits, 3 digits is not what you're wanting, you can go up to the Change Structure button up here and it'll open up a window and say, okay, how do you want to change your account numbers, their definition essentially. And once you change that and click OK, it'll save those changes. Okay? So again, it all depends really on, are we changing a few accounts or are we doing a large change to our chart of accounts? Really kind of determines which one of those options or functions you would actually choose. And as I always say to folks, our support staff are simply a phone call away should you have any questions or problems with that. Okay? All right. That's our 20 minutes. Let me see what questions we've got here. can you print the budget projections? That's a great question. Once you've, again, Kathy, because you can't print the actual budget projection screen right here, there's no way to print it. But once you've changed it, and you save it, what you would want to do then is just go back to like your budget report. Oh, didn't mean to do that because now it did it. Just go back to your budget report and print it for 2018. And then if you need to, you can always go back to budget projection and have it and just reprint it and readjust your budget projection again as needed. Please explain how to change monthly amounts expected per month in my projected budget. Well, I can't change that on a monthly basis in the budget projection, but under our budget screen, we can simply go into the budget screen, click on the particular account, choose the button next to monthly, and then we can go in and enter those particular month's amounts independently. And it saves those changes automatically. And it will adjust it in either annual or quarterly totals automatically as well. Becky's asking, if you change account numbers, what happens to reports? Not much, Becky, frankly. It still, as long as you're doing the change numbers on there, you're changing them manually, it'll still tie back to the same accounts in the prior year. It'll just show you the current year's number. Like when you do the prior year on your transaction, on your treasurer's report, or on your balance sheet, it'll just show the current year's account number, but it'll still show those. If you change account numbers, what happens to the previous year account name? Each year's chart of accounts, Kathy, is separate. So all the account names just, they're just different in the 2 years, but it'll always show the current year's account. So if you're comparing it to last year, it won't include the previous year's account because we're looking at it from this year's perspective. Example, if an account was $520,100 for coffee and is now $520,105. Yeah, the prior year's chart of accounts is irrelevant. It always compares it, because the accounts are matched, so when you go to manage accounts and match accounts, it's still going to tie back to the accounts from the prior year even though they're different. Okay. Yes, absolutely, Carl. You can delete accounts. In 2018, I can go to Special Functions, Manage Years, delete unused accounts, and you can utilize that to delete any accounts that, of course, meet the criteria for for deletion: 0 balances and no transactions. Good. Okay, yeah. So, I know, folks, kind of those questions can be a little bit, lengthy, time-consuming to type in, folks. Again, just be aware that until the video we're recording now is out on the website here, just remember to go back to the, Church Windows website, go to that New Year Help and Prep page or the New Year Prep and Help page, and you can watch those previous videos. It's the same exact documentation. So you can still review this. It's just with a different year. That's all. Also, folks, don't hesitate to use the Support Center. As I indicated during the event, if we go in here and we go to our Support Center page, I think if we come in here and we type in the keyword budget and click search, it is going to bring up right here, Accounting New Year Budget. So if you have more questions about that. Well, no, Becky, it depends on the chart of accounts that you're in. If I do a search on coffee, it will show both account numbers. No, it depends on which accounting year you're searching. So, if you're in 2018, it's going to find whatever account has coffee in it regardless of the number in 2018. When you search coffee in 17, it's again going to find any account that has coffee with its respective number in 2017. Yeah, again, each year's chart of accounts is separate and different, even though they are matched together, assuming we do the copy chart of accounts. Only if those accounts are maybe deleted and re-added would we need to use the match accounts function on that. But the system still sees them as the same account, just with a different number. Okay, we've gone a little long here, folks. Appreciate you sticking around to answer those questions. to ask those questions. Yeah, Mary, you've got cleanup options on the Church Windows website now. The video, I don't know when that'll be out on Monday's event specifically, but if we go into the support center and we click on the search here and we type in cleanup, I know we've got one out there now. Yeah, we've got donations cleanup, membership cleanup. They're all from previous versions. They're pretty much the same now as they are then. But yes, eventually the one from Monday will be out there. Good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar for everyone here. We hope it's been helpful. Please contact support if you have more questions, and we'll look forward to seeing you. We hope to see you all at a future Church Windows webinar event. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.